Welcome back to Awesome Possum Hobbies and Games. I am Chris, and I'm back with another Bloomburrow opening. This one is a commander deck called Peace Offering. It's a green, white, and blue deck. It's all about group hugs and +1/+1 counters. Like I said, it's a green, white, and blue deck. It includes a sample booster pack plus 3 legendary traditional foils. This deck revolves around Miss Bumbleflower, which is a rabbit citizen, which we'll go over in just a few minutes. Let's go ahead and check her out, though, by opening up the box. What's on the inside? Let's see if I can open it. Sometimes my fingernails are not long enough to do this. More bunny, more problems for your opponent, hopefully. Inside, throw that in the recycle. And then you have a cardboard box. No spin down, which is a shame. The sample pack, which we'll go through in just a few seconds. Empty envelope. What else is in here? Cardboard with some punch outs for tokens. And a fold out. The fold out has some advertisements, and then on the inside it has Miss Bumbleflower, so you can know about who she is if you pick up the deck. And then Miss Bumbleflower, playing the deck, you'll never meet a more generous rabbit in all of Bloomburrow than Mrs. Bumbleflower. Turn your opponents into allies by giving them extra cards. Build up your defenses with +1/+1 counters while everyone's arguing over who's the real best friend and pouring over their many resources, all courtesy of you. Use a new gift mechanic to spread the love even more, all while reaping additional benefits. If you're lucky, you might even get to pull off an alternate win condition. So there you go, Mrs. Bumbleflower. Goes to recycling. Let's go ahead and check out the box, or the deck itself. First card is a popular format of Magic, and on your turn card, which if you play Magic, you don't need that. If you are a beginner, check that card out. If not, I'm going to put it right in the recycling. Let's go ahead and go over the cards in the deck. First one is Miss Bumbleflower, which is a green, white, and blue, and 1 generic for a 1/5 legendary creature rabbit citizen. It has vigilance, and whenever you cast a spell, target opponent draws a card. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. It gains flying until end of turn. If this is the second time this ability has resolved, you draw 2 cards. There you go. Nice little Mrs. Bumbleflower. Nice full card. Next one is Mr. Foxglove for a green, a white, and 1 generic and 2 generic for a 3/5. Legendary creature Fox Rogue has lifelink, and whenever this card attacks, draw cards equal to the number of cards in defending player's hand minus the number of cards in your hand. If you didn't draw cards this way, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. Nice way of cheating some cards into play. Next one is the foil furry edition of Tomoyo, Field Researcher, for a green, white, and blue, and 1 generic for 4 loyalty legendary planeswalker Tomoyo. For +1 loyalty, choose up to 2 target creatures until your next turn. Whenever either of those creatures deals combat damage, you draw a card. -2, tap up to 2 target non-land permanents. They do not untap during their controller's next untap phase. -7, draw 3 cards. You get an emblem. You may cast spells from your hand without paying their mana cost. Wow. Yeah, she's really good if you can get there. Tenuous Truce for a white and 1 generic for an enchantment aura enchant opponent. At the beginning of each enchanted opponent's end step, you and that player each draw a card. Whenever you attack enchanted opponent or a planeswalker they control, or when they attack you or a planeswalker you control, you have to sacrifice this card. Lord of the Third Path. This is a reprint. Both of them, the last 2 cards are reprints, but this one's a white and 2 generic for a 2/1 legendary creature human artificer, has vigilance, and when it enters, destroy up to 1 target artifact or enchantment. Tap. You and target opponent each get to draw a card. See a theme there? Steelburr Champion. For a white and 2 generic for a 1/1 creature mouse soldier. It has offspring of a white and 1 generic. Offspring, of course, is you pay an additional cost as you cast a spell. If you do, when this creature enters, you get to create a 1/1 token copy of it. Has vigilance, and whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Next one is Tempt with Bunnies, which is one of my favorite cards from this set. It's not fantastic, but at the same time, it has great flavor. You know, this game's not always about winning. Sometimes it's about having fun. And this is probably one of the most fun cards out of the entire set. For a white and 2 generic for a sorcery. Tempting Offer. Draw a card and create a 1/1 white rabbit creature token. Then each opponent may draw a card and create a 1/1 white rabbit creature token. For each opponent who does, you get to draw a card and you create a 1/1 white rabbit creature token. So if you have opponents, let's say you have a pot of 4 and each opponent draws 3 cards, or each opponent draws a card and gains a bunny, guess what? You're going to get a total of 4 bunnies and 4 cards. Fantastic for 3 mana. Perch Protection. 2 white, 4 generic for an instant. Gift an extra turn. You may promise an opponent a gift as you cast a spell. If you do, they take an extra turn after this one. The actual spell ability is create 4 2/2 blue bird creature tokens with flying. If the gift was promised, all permanents you control phase out, and until your next turn, your life total can't change, and you gain protection from everything. Then, of course, it has to exile itself after you play it. Sunscorched Region. I'm not going to go over every single card. I'm just going to go over the new stuff and stuff that is awesome. Promise of Loyalty. Hoofprints of the Stag. This card was originally printed in the Lorwyn set for a white 1 generic for a Kindred Enchantment Elemental. Whenever you draw a card, you may have put a hoofprint counter on Hoofprints of the Stag. For a white and 2 generic, remove 4 hoofprints counters from this card. Create a 4/4 elemental creature token with flying. Activate only during your turn. So, you know, whenever you're drawing cards, you're putting counters on this. And then, of course, as you get more counters, you're going to get creatures. And, of course, this deck is all about drawing cards. It's a good card. Mangara, the Diplomat, for a white and 3 generic for a 2/4 legendary creature human cleric. Has lifelink, and whenever an opponent attacks with creatures, if 2 or more of those creatures are attacking you and or a planeswalker you control, you can draw a card. Whenever an opponent casts their second spell each turn, you can draw a card. Man, I'm seeing a theme in this. It's all about card draw. Realm Cloak Giant. It's not worth a ton, but at the same time, it is a cool card. For 2 white, 5 generic, you get 7/7 Vigilance Giant. But it also has an adventure. So on the adventure side is 2 white, 3 generic. Sorcery adventure, destroy all non-giant creatures. So board wipe, and then you get a 7/7 creature. Next one is Sphinx of Enlightenment. 2 blue, 4 generic for a 5/5 creature Sphinx with flying. And whenever this card enters, opponent draws a card, and you draw 3 cards. Nice. Forgotten Ancient for a green 3 generic for 0/3 creature elemental. Whenever a player casts a spell, you may put a +1/+1 counter on Forgotten Ancient. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may move any number of +1/+1 counters from this card onto other creatures. So as it grows, you can make other things grow. Bloodroot Apothecary. This is a fantastic new card. It's found in this set as well as some of the collector booster packs. For a green and 2 generic for a 3/3 creature squirrel druid. Has Toxic 2, so players dealt damage by this creature also get 2 poison counters. A player with 10 or more poison counters loses the game. And as it enters, you and target opponent each create a treasure token. Whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token creature or non-creature token, that player gets 2 poison counters. So yes, food, treasure, blood. There's so many things that it's going to be sacrificed for when it comes to tokens. This card is going to do some work, and I cannot wait to put it in a couple different decks. Communal Brewing. For a green and 2 generic for a enchantment, whenever this card enters, any number of target opponents each draw a card. Put an ingredient counter on this card, and then put an ingredient counter on it for each card drawn this way. Whenever you cast a creature spell, That creature enters with an additional X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the number of ingredient counters on Communal Brewing. I'm going to throw this in my Atraxa deck, see how it goes. Managorger Hydra. Rishkar Pima Renegade. Rites of Flourishing. Rites of Flourishing is cool. For a green and 2 generic, it's an enchantment at the beginning of each player's draw step. That player draws an additional card. Each player may play an additional land on each of their turns. Tempt with Discovery. Colonia Hydra. Fabro Elder. Man, this is a great include. For a white, a green, and 1 generic for a 0/0 creature. Treefolk Druid has Vigilance, and it gets +1/+1 for each color among permanents control. So when it comes into play, if it's the only one in play, it's a 2/2. And then taps for each color among permanents you control, add 1 mana of that color. So this guy taps with the only permanent in play. It taps for just 2. Not bad, not bad. Simic Ascendancy for a green, a blue, and instant enchantment is a generic green and blue. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Whenever 1 or more +1/+1 counters are put on creatures you control, put that many growth counters on Simic Ascendancy. At the beginning of your upkeep, Simic Ascendancy has 20 or more growth counters on it. You just win the game. Garafur Orrery. Psychosis Crawler. Adakar Waste. Temple of Enlightenment. Seachrome Coast. Glacial Fortress. Hinterland Harbor. Razor Verge Thicket. Great reprints. Flooded Grove. Man, lands are getting so exotic. Orchard. Skycloud Expanse. Canopy Vista. Prairie Stream. Brushland. Temple of Mystery. Yamaya Coast. Overflowing Basin. Sungrass Prairie. Sun Petal Grove. Truska Decaphile. Chasm Skulker. And this is an interesting reprint. We haven't seen this one in a while. For a blue and 2 generic for 1/1 creature squid horror. When you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on this card. When it dies, create X 1/1 blue squid creature tokens with Island Walk, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters that were on this card. Octomancer. This is a great new card. Octomancer is a blue, a green, and 3 generic for a 3/3 creature frog druid. Yeah, it has a gift of an octopus. So as you cast this, you may promise an opponent a gift as you cast a spell. If you do, when it enters, they create a 8/8 blue octopus creature token. At the beginning of each end step, create a token that's a copy of target creature token that entered the battlefield this turn. Man, this card gets crazy if you have ways of going through and increasing the number of tokens that you get. So Primal Vigor, Doubling Season. There's so many great cards that just make this card insane. Man, it's such a good card. Great print. 20-toed Toad for a blue and 3 generic for a 3/3 creature frog wizard. Your maximum hand size is 20. Whenever you attack with 2 or more creatures, put a +1/+1 counter on this card and draw a card. And when this card attacks, you may win the game if you have 20 or more counters on it and you have 20 or more cards in your hand. Intellectual Offering for a blue and 4 generic for an instant. Choose an opponent. You and that player each draw 3 cards. Choose an opponent. Untap all non-land permanents you control and all non-land permanents that player controls. Not bad instant. Illusionist Gambit for 2 blue, 2 generic. Instant. Cast a spell only during the declare blocker step on an opponent's turn. Remove all attacking creatures from combat and untap them. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. Each of those creatures attacks that combat if able. They can't attack you or the planeswalkers you control that combat. Body of Knowledge. Perplexing Test. Joriel. Oh, I can't pronounce that middle name. Mowan Bully. Recluse. Talent. This is cool. Cool card from this set. For a green, a blue, and 2 generic. It's an enchantment class. So level 1 at the beginning of your upkeep. Choose the top card of your library. You may reveal it if it's a land card. Create a 1/1 blue fish creature token if you revealed it this way. Then draw a card. Level 2 for a blue and a green. If you would create a fish token, create a 3/3 blue shark creature token instead. For level 3, for a blue, a green, and 2 generic. If you would create a shark token, create a 8/8 blue octopus creature token instead. Nice. Selva, Explorer, Returned, Quain, Interniate Meddler for a white and a blue for 1/3 legendary creature Rabbit Wizard. Tap, each player may draw a card, then each player who drew a card, this way you gain a life. Coveted Jewel for 6 generic mana. It's an artifact. When it enters the battlefield, you get to draw 3 cards, and then tap, add 3 mana of any color. Whenever one or more creatures an opponent controls attack you and aren't blocked, that player draws 3 cards and gains control of Coveted Jewel and untap it. Temple of Plenty, Generous Gift, Swords to Plowshares. That's an interesting artwork on that. Secret Rendezvous, Bard, Steward of Argive. An Offer You Can't Refuse. Fantastic card. Wizard class. Cultivate. Farseek. Broken Wings. Spore Frog. Nice reprint. Spore Frog. I haven't seen that one in a while. For green, for 1/1 creature frog. Sacrifice Spore Frog. Prevent all combat damage will be dealt this turn. Wear Down. Peerless Recycling. Quilling Oracle, Riot Control, Martial Impetus, Jolly Gerbles, Long River's Pull, Thought Vessel, Arcane Signet, Swiftfoot Boots for 2 generic mana. It's an artifact. It's equipment for 1 generic mana. Equipped creature has hexproof and haste. Fantastic include. Felwar Stone, Soul Ring, Mindstone, Thriving Heath, Thriving Isle, Evolving Wilds, Thriving Grove, Terramorphic Expanse, Command Tower, Reliquary Tower, Seaside Citadel, and basics. Let's see what the basics are. Some plains, islands, forests, and a lot of tokens. First one is Elephant / Squid, Steelbur Champion / Squid, Rabbit / Octopus, Treasure / Cat, Rabbit / Fish, Bird / Fish, Bird / Shark, Elemental / Shark, Elemental / Cat, Poison / Rabbit. Man, only 1 octopus? There should have been 2 since you're giving 1 to an opponent. Oh well, let's go on to this little pack here. So, first thing we're going to see in here is the advertisement card, which is garbage. And the first card is a borderless version of Lunar Convocation. For white and 1 black. Enchantment at the beginning of your end step. If you gain life this turn, each opponent loses 1 life. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained and lost life this turn, create a 1/1 black creature token with flying, and then pay a black and 1 generic. Pay 2 life. You draw a card. And Otter Ball Antics. Okay, well there you go. That is the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Until next time, I hope you have a huggy day, since this is a group hugs deck, and then hope you have a fantastic week. Until next time, keep it rolling.
And thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please take the time to like the video and subscribe if you'd like to stay updated. Have a great day and keep them rolling.